Chapter 7, Review Part B. Number 1, you're going to factor 11w square minus 44w. So you need to find out if there is a GCF that you can take out first. To find out the GCF, you need to find out what is the common number between the first term. So you break this 11w square as 11w times w, and the 44w as 4 times 11 times w. What you see that is common is 11w in both the terms, which is a common factor that you want to take out. So 11w is out. Inside you're left with is w minus 4. So your answer is 11w times w minus 4. So question number 2, you have a w square, 6w and 40. So it means that you have a square term, a degree 1 term, and a constant. Anytime you are factoring this where there is a no number in the front, you can just apply the cross method, and on the top of the cross is negative 40, on the bottom is 6. You're looking for two numbers. When you multiply them, you get negative 40, and when you add or subtract or connect them, you get 6. The number that multiply to negative 40 and add or subtract to 6 is going to be 10, 10 and negative 4. So 10 minus 4 is 6, and 10 times negative 4 is 40, negative 40. And how you write it in a factor form? So you just write x, or in this case actually is w, plus 10 w minus 4. For number 3, you're going to compare this as a formula for a square minus b square equals a minus b times a plus b. So you just have to write 25 as a square of something. So you're going to rewrite the same equation and write it as x square. Instead of 25, you write 5 square, because 5 square is still 25. Now this one looks like a square minus b square. So means that you're going to write it as x minus 5, x plus 5. And that's going to be factor of x square minus 25. So for number 4, if it's asking you to solve, it means it's asking you to find the unknown variable. In this case, the unknown variable is x. So we are going to solve this for x. To solve this for x, you're going to apply the zero product property, which means that you're going to put one factor equal to 0, comma, another factor equal to 0, and solve for x. To solve for x, you're going to add 1 on both sides and then divide with 2. So you're going to get here is 1 over 2 for the first x value, and other x value you're going to subtract 8 on both sides. So x equals negative 8. X equals 1 over 2 and x equals negative 8. You can factor the 10x as 2 times 5 times x times x. And this one is already factor, you cannot break it anymore. Now you're going to see what is the common factor between the first term, which is 5x, and 5x. So the 5x gets out. What is remaining inside is this 2 and x, so 2x, and the place value for 5x, that's going to be plus 1. equals 0. So you're going to put that 5x equals 0, comma 2x plus 1 equals 0. When you divide this with 5, you got x equals 0 for the first one, and for this one you subtract 1 on both sides and divide with 2, you got negative 1 over 2. So you subtract 1 on both sides and then you have to divide with 2. So when the equation is equal to 0, then you have to solve for x value. When the equation is just an expression like above, then you just find the factor and stop there. For example, if I find the factor for this one, what goes on the top is negative 16, what goes on the bottom is negative 6. Two number when you multiply, you get negative 16, and add to get negative 6 are negative 8 and 2. So you find the factor x minus 2 times x plus 2. If that would be a case on the top, just a factor, I will stop here. If there is an equal to sign, which is 0, equal to 0, then it means it's asking me to find the x value. Oh, here is m, but I use it x, so just deal with that. If you're finding it for m or x, you just put them equal to 0 one by one and then find the variable. So you add here 8, so you got x equals 8 or m equals 8, and then you subtract 2 on both sides, so you got x equals negative 2. So see that the difference between here and here or here and here is, here you want to find the unknown variable m or x, whatever is given. In the above question, since it's not equal to 0, you just find the factor and stop there. For number 7, you're going to factor just like prime factor. So this is going to be 2 times 2 times 2 times x times x. And this one you can break it as 2 times 2 times x. Now what is the common here is the 2 times 2 times x is common between these two terms. So if you take out the 2 times 2 times x common, see what is left inside. So left inside is that blue writing is that 2x. And don't forget, if you take the whole thing out, what left in there, it should be 1. Its place value. So your answer should be 4x times 2x plus 1. So for number 8, you can tell that this is, you can find it a prime factor, but you can avoid finding prime factor if you know that 28 has 2 times 14 times a. So the biggest prime factor is 14, means that 14 divides 14 as well as 28. So factor the 14a out. So you got 14a outside. Inside you left with a minus 2. So you got here is 14a times a minus 2. So we left the factors as it is. We did not solve for the variable because, first of all, it did not ask us to solve. Second, it's not equal to 0. If this is not equal to 0, then we cannot put them equal to 0 one by one and find the unknown variable. When it says factor, you just find the factor and leave it there. When it says solve and it's equal to 0, then you put the factor equal to 0 one by one and then solve for x. So for number 9, you're going to again factor this. So change that into 2 times x times x times x plus 2 times x times x times x minus 2 times 35 x times x times x. So what is common here is 2 2x times x, 2x times x, and then 2 times x times x. So 2 times x times x is common. What is left inside is x squared. Here you left with 2x, and here you left with 35. So the answer should be 4x times x squared plus 2x plus 35. Because when you break this 70, it becomes 2 times 35 times x times x. So x times x is outside, 2 is outside, you left with 4x times x squared plus 2x plus 35. So if you notice number 10, 11 and 12, all of the factor problems have a number that is more than 1 in the front. So this is 2 here, this is 2, and this is 3. Before, when you make factors of this type of equations or expressions, these numbers were 1, so there was no number in the front. If there is a number in the front and that is greater than 1, then you have to use a cross and a box method. So what goes on the top of the cross is the multiplication of 3 and 24. So 3 times 24 is 72. On the bottom is 18. So the two numbers then multiply to get 72 and add to get 18 are 12 and 6. So 12 times 6 is 72 and 12 plus 6 is 18. Make the box. So there is 3x squared, which is the first term, 3r squared, sorry, and then the last term goes here. Now you're going to fill this with the 6x, and here is 12x. The founded number go into the other two places. GCF of this row that divides 3x and 6x is 3x. So GCF is 3x. So what goes on the top? So what goes on the top when you multiply 3x time what give you x squared? 3x squared is just x, and here it should be 2. And what goes here that you multiply with x should give you 12x. That's going to be 12, because 12 times x is 12x and 12 times 2 would be 24. Factors are going to be x plus 2, the top one, and the side numbers 3x plus 12. You're going to leave these factors as it is and not finding the value, because it's just asking us to factor. It's not asking us to solve. If it's asking us to solve, we have to put them equal to 0 one by one and find the x values. For number 9, I made a mistake. It should be 2x to the power 2 out. And I had it over here, but I don't know why I wrote 4x here. So it should be 2x squared. For number 11, what goes on the top is 12 and on the bottom is -7. So the two numbers that you're going to find are going to be -4 and -3. Inside the box, when you make a box, The first term goes in the first box, which is 2b squared, and this goes here as 6. The number that you found, which is -4 and 3, goes on the other two places. GCF of the first row is going to be 2b. So here you're going to multiply this by b to get 2b squared, and 2b times -2 would be -4b. This number on the bottom should be -3. -3 times b is -3b, and -3 times -2 is +6. The two factors are going to be b minus 2 times 2b minus 3. For number 12, this is cross and box. What goes on the top is -6, on the bottom is -5. The number that you found are -6 and 1. When you multiply, you get -6, and when you add them, you get -5. The first box is 2x squared, and on the cross of this box is -3, which is the last number. These two numbers that you found goes here, -6x and 1x. The GCF of the top number, top row, is going to be 2x. You multiply by x to get 2x squared, and here you got -3. This one should be 1, and the two factors are x minus 3 times 2x plus 1. Here you're going to stop at just finding the factor, because you're not solving for x. It's not equal to 0. So you just stop here, just find the factor and stop here. Number 13, you make a cross. On the top is 64, on the bottom is 16. You can get here two numbers that are 8 and 8. So the factors are x plus 8 times x plus 8 equals 0. Put them equal to 0 one by one. So you got x equals -8. Since they both are same, so both of them should be -8. For number 14, you take the GCF out, and the GCF is n. Inside is n square minus 9 equals 0. So n square minus 9, if you want to make factor form, so it becomes n minus 3 times n plus 3 equals 0. You put them equal to 0 one by one, so n equals 0, n minus 3 equals 0, which means n is 3. So n is 3 for this one, and then n plus 3 equals 0, so n is -3. 0, 3, and -3. If you're doing number 15, you should have this 2 as your common factor, 2x squared. Inside you're left with x squared plus x minus 20 equals 0. And then you can make a factor for this part using cross method. On the top is -20, on the bottom is 1. Two numbers that you look for is going to be 5 and -4. So the complete factors are 2x squared outside and x plus 5 times x minus 4 equals 0. You can solve this by putting all of them equal to 0 one by one. So x equals 0, x plus 5 equals 0, and x minus 4 equals 0, and solve for x value. So the x values are going to be x0, x -5, and x equals 4.